Hello, I'm very excited to welcome today Michelle Guiliano, who joins us from Switzerland, from the French-speaking area. Hi, Michelle, how are you?
It's a pleasure to be with you, Miisa. Thank you very much, and thank you for hosting this wonderful platform and forum. We're very excited about the Festival of Doers that's coming up. Thank you for coming and bringing it to Switzerland.
Thank you. I'm super excited to bring Festival of Doers from London to Zurich in September. But before we talk about that, Michelle, would you be kind enough to introduce yourself and just tell the viewers a little bit about yourself and what makes you excited to get up in the morning?
Well, those are different questions and quite wide. What makes me excited to get up in the morning is, of course, the chance to breathe and move my body. I like fitness, and I come from a background in sport. So I try to get out, and I've got mountains in my backyard. So that's one of my passion points is get out and breathe and move your body and feel alive every day. I think that gives a chance for active meditation, a little chance for reflection on what is it I want to achieve that day, a little bit of connection with nature and self. And with that, I find that I can propel my business forward faster with my business partner, Denise Nickerson, who you're going to get to interview and meet later. About me in terms of entrepreneurship and in terms of being a doer, my background, so I'm an American and I was born in New Jersey, and I've lived lots of places, including Toronto and Seattle and Zurich, Switzerland, and now in the French-speaking parts of the Geneva area. My first career, I've had three, and I look forward to taking on more, but my first career was sports. I was a rower for an Ivy League school in New York City, Columbia University. And from that, I learned a lot about high performance, but I was weaned in entrepreneurship. My father ran a consultancy for about 40 years, and I absolutely loved the idea of building a business. And so when I started to consume information about who am I and what do I want to do and how do I want to take high performance, do I want to be the coach? Do I want to be the athlete? Do I want to be an onboard coach and do it all at the same time, right? Do I want to be a boss or an employee or sort of a consultant? In the end, I've chosen consulting. So my second career was executive search. And in executive search, I learned something that Guy Kawasaki actually says is really important, that you got to learn how to sell something if you're going to be in entrepreneurship. And so I went from high performance sports, where the lessons and the success are about setting goals, teaming, and setting a path to achievement. And in sales, it was highly collaborative in this environment. I worked with a teammate, and together we were number one and number two on any given day. And that was after only 1 year learning this business. So I got confident that I could learn new things. And I got confident that as a 26-year-old, I could place C-level executives and talk with them. They never knew my age, but I made a lot of money. And I think that was a 26-year-old success measure. And I think that that's changed. And then my third career is with entrepreneurship and innovation. And in that career, or that professional channel, I've helped others raise money. I have helped position technologists with sales talent and done the business development of that. And then I launched a product-based company before doing SALT consulting. And that was really about setting parents free who had infant children who needed weatherproofing gear. And so I designed and I innovated and I drew. And I learned that I could win a design award having no designer background. So I think that there's a lot in entrepreneurship that goes along with my ethos of try it and accumulate a certain amount of failures, and eventually you're going to succeed. And so then finally, SALT Consulting, which is where I am today with my business partner, it's a brilliant consultancy. So I've come back to consultancy from a product-based world. I think that the service industry allows me to express more myself. And so we do coaching, we do facilitation, we do event planning and event management. We make meaning happen. And in that way, I think we're very excited to be collaborators and partners with the Festival of Doers.
That sounds such a beautiful story, and very much a doer and a driven woman story. Because I believe that mostly we just stop ourselves from doing the things we want to do because we haven't done them before, or it's going to look silly on our CV. Whereas you are living proof that you can successfully innovate and go into new areas if you just follow your passion and your joy, really.
Yeah. Yeah, passion and joy, I think, are absolutely critical. I mean, you can't have fun. And if you're not having fun, it's very hard, I think, to succeed. It's too much of a slog, and there are too many other things to do. And as a mother, and I know you're a mother too, but as a mother, I think it's so important that we're leveraging a more whole vision of who we are. Denise and I talk about Living the Feminine Future, which is a product that we're just about to launch, and we're very excited. And Living the Feminine Future is also about how do we get to express more of who we are in our everyday, and how do we get to enjoy more aspects and more domains of ourselves and integrate those so that we have integrity in all that we do.
Fantastic. You're so speaking my language. So how would you capture success in a short way? What does success mean to you?
Well, so I kind of alluded to the fact that first of all, I think success is something that you define and then you redefine and perhaps redefine and redefine again. And that also kind of coincides with the ethos of high performance culture and the ethos of excellence or mastery. And so those who are trying to sort of pursue mastery are constantly raising the bar of excellence. And there's a danger in raising the bar of excellence, which is why, Denise and I have coached over 100 Olympic coaches and professional coaches and many, many, many athletes. And one of the challenges that elite performers, whether they're dancers, athletes, or C-level executives, one of the challenges that they face is that as they're constantly raising the bar of excellence, it at some point gets to be not cutting edge, but bleeding edge. And all of a sudden, the risk that you're mitigating is not the sort of success or failure, but glorious success and total burnout or injury or defeat. And so it's a bleeding edge line. And I think that where you get to a little bit later in life, as I am now, is more aligned with balance. I don't want to drop one iota of high performance culture. And at a cellular level, excellence and mastery is something that I personally seek and I crave and I want and I hunger and I thirst after, but not at the expense of my children, my values, my character, my dignity, or my ethics, or my business partner, or where we're going, our sort of driven focus and focal point. So I think that I've matured a little bit. And so success is a little bit more complete, and it's maybe more energetic. And money is certainly energetic. I mean, there's a lot that you can do with it. You can give more, you can create more, you can further your products and services, you can find peace and wholeness, but there's more to success. Is that a definition?
That's a beautiful definition. Thank you. Can you talk a little bit about the obstacles? I mean, you've been you've created a lot, and you have a very, very interesting journey. Maybe there is one event that you could share, because very often we see people as kind of the successful end result, but I'm very interested in the backstory and in the kind of the rough part of the journey, because every journey has those obstacles.
Yeah. Well, I'll tie it into a story real quickly. When I left consulting, I left it with great clarity that it was not a sustainable or scalable business model for me. And in my 20s, I applied a tremendous amount of jet fuel to take flight and become, one of the top 1% to 3% of executive search consultants in North America. So I was billing, I was serving, I was completing projects, I was doing great. And it was getting easier, but it wasn't enough. And I got this idea that you get when you start entering into the entrepreneurship world or the self-help world about business building. I started thinking this thought that, okay, we want to have recurring revenue. We want to have a business that functions when I'm not at work. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to build a product-based business. So Boulder Kids, this business that I had before, was very successful by many measures. I sold it in 7 countries. The products really did set parents free. They were built extremely clean, green, ethical here in Europe. of 4-way stretch, fabulous material that was waterproof to the 20,000 degree and breathable. So very large 12-kilo babies at 6 months were cool and warm enough in winter, right? It fit, it did amazing things, and it's really set parents free. But one of the challenges of that product-based business, and one of the challenges innovators face, is it's just one challenge, but that's timing. I launched this product literally 7 years too early. 7 years, you could say, okay, she's an innovator, that's great. She sold it, that's great. She won awards, that's great. But I also did one other failed thing, or one other inadvisable thing. I don't know that it's so failed, but it was inadvisable. And that was launching a product that basically sits in between two industries, the baby industry and outdoor sports. And I knew that women, when I started in sports, we didn't have any products cut for women. I don't know if you know this. I don't know how old you are. You look very young. But when I started out in sports, if you wanted a high performance shirt, you needed to buy a men's small. And it wasn't very performant because it didn't fit you. And so I watched the industry in outdoor sports. Suddenly the shops are filled with 50% women's clothing and 50% men's clothing. And I watched the age come lower. And I talked to the people and I realized they really want products for not just kids, but toddlers. And they really want products not just for toddlers, but for carried babies. So I thought, yes, I'm at the right time. I'm at the right place. I had the market feedback. I thought it was going to be perfect. But in fact, outdoor sports, people are very ready to read the labels. And the buyers in the outdoor sports industry, the people who are going there, are dads or fathers or men. They're still in the shops more than women. They still care more about gear and performance and whether or not they're going to make it all day long and be comfortable. They're more interested in that than by and large the women. Whereas in the baby sector, it's got to be cute, it's got to be pink, it's got to be fluffy, it's got to feel good against my baby's skin, and mothers are buying. And so I found out that even though I sold to high-end baby shops and high-end outdoor sports shops, I had two different customers. And while I was setting fathers free, everybody from skiers to sailors who are now able to have a whole day on the mountain with their baby comfortable and acclimated and not getting frostbite, 70% of my customers were men, and I thought I was pitching to women like me. I didn't realize how rare people like me are. And I think that's a lesson for founders everywhere. We tend to fall in love with our product or our service, and we think that everybody's going to love it. And we think we've done all the market research, and there's always more learning to get. And so something that I could have learned from sports was test, prove, and see where you are. And so I think what I've learned as I've matured in entrepreneurship, and something that Denise and I absolutely do with Salt Consulting and all of the products that we have, is I'm much faster to put it out there, be transparent, test it, and see, is the market liking it? Are we going to make it work before I pour a lot of investment or time or energy? Also, my time and energy is my investment into really making it work, or calling it my baby, or wedding it. You know, it's better to see what is the value proposition really, and how quickly can we test that.
So some of the women watching, some of them maybe entrepreneurs, some of them thinking of career chains, or maybe just some other upgrade in their life right now. Maybe sitting there sort of not quite sure what they want. I want something different. I want a bigger life, but not quite sure how to get started. You've started many things. Some things went better than the others. What would be a top tip for somebody who's looking for that new direction and wants to create something new for themselves? How to get started, how to get over that kind of fear of failure or procrastination?
Yeah, well, number one is join a women's group, actually. And this is new research for me. And this isn't just lip service for driven women or anything that we're designing. I think that the new research is showing that increasingly women are isolated. Whether we're in scientific fields, whether we're running our own businesses, whether we're moms, we're isolated. And to a certain degree, we end up being peerless in that isolation. And what the research is showing is if all you want is a salary increase in your current job, not that that's an all or nothing thing, but if that's what you most want, the number one way to get it is join a women's group, because in so doing, somebody who meets on a regular basis, some group who is going to challenge you. It doesn't need to be your in-house corporate mentorship program, but it can be. Increasingly, we're seeing that women, when we get together, we propel one another forward and we help make it possible to imagine something bigger and brighter. I think what I took for granted when I built Boulder Kids was that every woman knew how to go out and pack a picnic lunch and bring only 3 diapers instead of the whole diaper bag, right? You know, everybody knew how, everybody had that skill. And what I realized as I was selling the products at that time was that I needed to be the guide by the side. Here in Salt Consulting, we see, as we're dealing with leading women, people who have, their children have just gone out the door, they've achieved a lot in their life, they have the financial resources, and they're at that point in time where they want to give back. And I asked this question of them because one of the number one ways they want to give back is they say, well, I was so privileged, I had the scholarship program, or I went to this school and I want to go create that in my home country. I live in international Geneva, right? So people are from somewhere else by and large. And they want to give back in that one tiny, finite, insular way. And I would like to expand that. And so recently we've been talking with people about, well, hold on, you've got these skills. You know what a good deal looks like. You've been an investor. You know, maybe one of the ways you could give back is right here locally and leverage your skills, which by the way is your passion, right? You know, because some of them say, well, I have this passion, but what I want to do. And so I think what's happened to women is we've been socialized to think that only this build a school or a scholarship program option is available to us. And we have so many options and so many ways in which we can help a local NGO to land that chief sponsor, or, you know, and propel a whole organization forward without our own gumption. And some of that comes down to valuing ourselves and valuing our skills and not taking for granted who we are and what we've learned and how we got here, which it's so easy to do because it's easy for us, whatever is our skill or talent, it's easy for us. So we do take it. So I think when you get in those women's groups, you can relax, you can let down your guard, and if you don't know who you are, someone's going to shine a mirror in a very bright and beautiful way and help remind you or re-expose you to some of your talents and strengths. And it can give women the confidence that they need so that when their senior leader comes and offers them that job that they don't think they're ready for, somebody could say, hold on, what are you talking about? Of course you're ready for it. Remember, you did this, 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 this. And so I think we get those accountability partners in women's groups that not only help us do and achieve, but help remind us that we have already done and achieved so much and we're ready.
Exactly. And this is exactly what happens in Dream of Woman in our life working groups. And it, as you said, it doesn't have to be even the person from the same industry or from the same professional level. It's just the fact that your mindset has been expanded because you hear these stories and because somebody else has gone up for a job that they were afraid to do. And then when it's your turn, you go, yeah, I'm going to give it a go as well. Or it happens with starting a business or starting a blog or starting anything new when you've seen it done. And you know that these people are going to support you. It's magical what happens.
Yes. But if I may, I'll just take one thing more from my sports background, because there are women on this lead or receiving this video who do play sports. And if they aren't playing sports, please pick one and start. And if you're a mother, please get your children involved in sports. And it doesn't matter the sport, individual or team sport. And the reason why I'm such an advocate for sports and body movement is it is a competitive advantage that men have over us when we don't play sports. The competitive advantage that I find is in exactly the unwritten rules of the corporate world. For those who are in the corporate world, the unwritten rules, I think women often don't realize that when they get tackled, that it's a confrontation that they need to handle. So somebody comes over to the water cooler and says, you just fired those 2 people and you're hiring 4 more. I think you're doing a bit of empire building. And women go, am I doing empire building? and they may get a guilty conscience, as opposed to realizing, hold on, if that guy's willing to say that to me to my face, what is he saying when I'm not around? And hold on, I cut 2 staff, but we reorganized the organization. And by adding these 4 people who aren't as expensive as the other 2, we're doing this, this, and this, and our vision. And remember, you approved it, right? And so if we don't remember how to block and tackle or learn, then we don't realize that by the time we come to our quarterly review or our performance review, period, that if we haven't blocked and tackled along the way, we don't have a chance to score on the goal. That's the sports analogies, but I think that it helps me to realize that feedback is just feedback. It's not negative or positive, it's just perspective and information we need in order to get to the next level or to get critical eyes on ourselves. And most of the time we aren't doing this. We aren't filming ourselves. We aren't recording what we say, what we do on a daily basis. And in the sports arena, if you miss the ball, you've missed the ball. So the feedback is immediate. You got to go run after it and catch it and tackle and take control again. And so I think that the more and more we can build in the feedback loops in our lives and in our circles and with our employees and with our teams, and make no mistake of it, if you're a solo entrepreneur, you can build a team. But you can build in feedback loops with your accountant. You can build in feedback loops with your partners. And as you do so, you can gauge, how am I doing? And stop a little bit of that founder's mentality that sometimes cripples people. Sorry, that went on long.
That's okay. That's okay. I think there's a lot of really useful, beautiful information and inspiration. Thank you so much, Michelle. Can't wait to meet you in Zurich, 14th of September. And yes, see you there at Festival of Doers.
We're going to have a great time. Thank you so much for this interview, Miisa. Have a wonderful afternoon.
You too. Thank you.